Hey, my name is Nathan Henderson, and this is my coming out video. Uh, I wanted to do this video because when I was closeted, I watched a lot of these kind of videos on YouTube, and though mine's going to be really bad quality and not as good as some of those really great people, I felt it was important to get mine out there so maybe someone else out there can watch it and benefit from it like I did from other people's videos. So my story starts, I guess, in 7th grade. That's kind of where I started, liking other people and, started feeling some new feelings. But I went to like a parochial Catholic school, kindergarten through 8th grade, and I didn't really know anything about gay people because of that. We were a bit more sheltered, and because of this, I didn't really recognize, what my feelings were. All I just kind of identified it as was extreme nervousness around like a handful of guys throughout the years there. Like, I just couldn't talk to them. I felt way too nervous. I couldn't even really act normal around them. It was just a confusing and weird situation for me, and I just ignored it the best I could. Once I went into high school, I started understanding my feelings a bit better. I started understanding that, relationships with girls, they didn't last long. I did not enjoy them. Girls would just seem like really good friends and not like dating material. And I started getting more hardcore crushes on guys, and I was really freaked out in the beginning, I have to admit. Like, I did not want to be gay. I really wished I wasn't gay. I came from a pretty religious Catholic family. I had these feelings, and I had to learn how to deal with them. And so I kind of struggled with them for about a year or two, and it wasn't until the summer after sophomore year I decided to come out. I was hanging out with my friends during this time. I was hanging out with them a lot, and one day I started kind of saying things like, I have a secret, but I can't tell you, and it's really big, but I don't feel comfortable talking about it at the same time. And my best friend, she would always be like, what is it? Like, tell me, what is your secret? And it kind of just went on back and forth, and I'd be like, no, I'm not telling you. And it's just a really childish, beating around the bush kind of thing. And that went on for probably about 3 or 4 days. And then finally, just like after being on the brink of it for so long, I told my friend, hey, I'm going to come over to your house tomorrow, and I'm going to tell you what my secret is. And I remember she was really excited, and I ended up going over to our house the next day, and I was really nervous, and we ended up going out in our backyard, and I didn't really know what to do, so I just sat next to her on her bench, and she asked me like things like, so like, Nate, what's your secret? And I was like, you have to guess. And she was like, well, are you possessed? No. She said, do you have superpowers? No. It's like, what is it, Nate? Like, I've guessed everything. And just out of nowhere, I just jumped up and span around, and I slapped my arms on her legs. And I just yelled, I'm gay! And she gave out a little scream. And she was like, Nate, I am so happy. I thought you loved me, and like things like that. And she's like, Nate, I am really supportive, and you are still my best friend. And that meant a lot to me. That meant so much to me to come out to my best friend and then know she was supportive, know things wouldn't be different. And that really helped me get through the rest of this. So what ended up happening from there was, over the next 3 or 4 days, I told different close friends, my friend groups, about 6 of them, that, hey, I'm gay, I'm coming out soon, but I don't want you talking about it for a little bit. And they were all very surprised, but they were all very supportive. No one gave me any trouble. Everyone said they loved me, and they supported me, and they thought it was great. So that was just great, and it was amazing. It was the best feeling in the world having my friends behind me. I knew no matter what happened after that, I'd be okay, because I had my friends. And what ended up happening was, during those 3 to 4 days when I told all my other friends about being gay, that's when I started with my family. My brother, actually, during these days, he went through my search history for some reason. I don't remember why. And he found like an LGBT Reddit like a subreddit. It was like, LGBT teens, like something like really, nothing dirty, but it was like a support thing. And so he called me when I was out with my friends, and he said, "Nate, I just found this, and are you gay?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I am actually." And he was like, "Come home right now. We need to talk about this right now." And I was like, "No." Like, I was really terrified to go and talk to him because my brother, he kind of like acts, he likes to act like an adult, like towards me. He likes to act like my parent, even though he's 2 years older than me. So I was really afraid about it, and I said, "No, I'm out with my friends. They're very supportive about it. I'd rather be with them right now." And so I got home that night, and I don't really remember if he said anything to me about it, other than I remember he said, "You have to tell mom and dad." And I told him I will before the week's over. The next day, I told my little sister, I was driving her home from track, and we were in the car in front of our house, and I locked the doors, and I said, "I have a secret to tell you, Camille." And she was like, "What? What is it?" She's 2 years younger than me. And I said, "You can't tell mom and dad, not until not until I tell them." And she was like, "Okay, like, what is it, man? Like, I won't tell." And I said, "I'm gay." And she started crying. She started tearing up, and she just told me she needed to get out of the car right then. So I unlocked the doors, and I let her out. She just kind of walked inside. She didn't tell my parents. She just went up to her room. So that was kind of a hard thing to take because I really love my little sister. She means a lot to me. So it was kind of disheartening for her to do that. But, she was a freshman in high school. She's going to be a freshman in high school. And she was young, and it was a surprise, so I knew she would get over it eventually. About a day later, then it was my parents' turn. And I was trying to get my parents together all day to tell them, like, "Hey, I'm gay, I want you to know." But, like, for some reason, they're always, like, either in separate rooms or, like, different places around town, and I could never get them together until it was, like, 11 o'clock at night. And my mom was sleeping on the couch, my dad was upstairs, and I was like, "Hey, I need to talk to you and Dad. I have something to talk to you about." And she was like, "What? What is it? Nate, just tell me." And I didn't want to do it when they weren't together. I was like, "I want to do a camp, and I want to talk to you both about it right now." And she was like, "No, Nate, we'll talk about it later." And at that point, it was really eating away at me. Like, having my friends know about it, having my siblings know about it, my parents didn't. And just, after all this time, really just holding that in, I know it can really just eat away at you. It just makes it so uncomfortable, and you feel so nervous all the time. And I needed to tell my parents then. So I said to my mom, like, "Hey, I was lying. It's not about a camp. I have something very serious to talk to you about." And she sat up. She was like, "Nate, what is it? Like, what could it be? Just tell me. What did you do?" And I said, "Okay, Mom, I'm gay." And I remember just her eyes just shot open. And she was just like, "Oh my gosh, are you serious?" And I, told her, "Yeah, I'm serious, I've been thinking about this for years now. I know who I am. My feelings are going to change. Like, I'm gay." And I remember she just kind of called to my dad. She's like, "David, come downstairs." And my dad came down, and I had to again say, "I'm gay." And I just remember my dad just had the most disappointed face ever and sitting down on the couch next to my mom. And my mom started crying. And my parents started talking about things like, "Aren't you worried about, like, getting to heaven? Aren't you worried about your soulmate? It's against our Lord's, law. Like, in the Bible, it says that it's wrong to be gay, and our family follows what the Bible says." And I said, "Yeah, just don't worry about it. Like, I have my life under control. I'm a good person. I'm not worried about it, and neither should you." And then my parents started talking about things like, "Nate, people are going to hate you forever, like, because of who you are. Just because they know that you're gay, they're going to use that as a reason to hate you." And I said, "Yeah, maybe some people will, but I don't need those kind of people in my life." And I feel like mostly everyone will be supportive. And I just remember my mom went on crying. My dad just kind of sat there, blank face, like, disappointed. And I just told them, "I know this is a big shock to you, and it's hard. I know at the beginning, but you'll get over it." And my parents just said, "Yeah, it is hard. It is hard. I don't know we're going to need some time. And my parents were like, you can't do anything, you can't date in our house, you can't do this. And then they said, who knows? And I said, oh, I recently just came out to my closest friends, and I'm letting it go public soon. And they just were disappointed about that too. They said things like, you should have waited until you were in college, you should have waited until you're out of high school, people are going to bully you, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I told my friends first, because I got a lot of great support from them, and that's really what I needed right now. And they were like, your friends don't have your best interest in mind. I was like, well, I don't care. I'm glad I did it. And so it was just kind of back and forth, like questions all night, and just disappointment, and like things about our religion. And but in the end, my parents did tell me that they loved me, and they cared about me, and that they still accepted me as a kid, as their child, even though they wanted me to do counseling. They wanted me to like join some kind of youth group for gay people that like promised to abstain from sex, and I just told them, I'm not doing those things. That's ridiculous. I don't want much to change, even though I know it's gonna be hard for you guys. But thank you guys for accepting me as your child. And so I did end up going to counseling later on, but it wasn't like trying to change me straight. But it was like they believed that being gay was so hard for me that it was messing me up mentally. So that was kind of a weird thing to kind of hear from them. And it was awkward around the house for a couple weeks, but things kind of returned to normal. And I started, saying things like, I'm not doing this, I'm not joining this group, I'm not going to, I'm going to date if I want to, just because my little sister can date, my older brother can date, so I can date. And so now, I am allowed to date now, so that's great. My parents have opened up a lot more, so that is great for them, and I'm glad they are more open-minded now, and they're great, loving parents. What ended up happening was, like I said, I told my friends, keep it under wraps for a couple days, and then you can start telling people. And you knew once the word got out, like, people started texting me, I got calls, like, Nate, people are spreading around things about you, and I'd have to explain, oh, well, I am gay, actually. So that was weird at first. But I'll never forget how one day at the end of this summer, I was at a party, and it was just like a bunch of us kids sitting around, and for some reason, like, me being gay popped up, and I didn't know what to expect. And one of the kids said, Nate, that's actually really great of you that you came out. And like all 13 of the kids out in their circle just started saying things like, Nate, you were really brave, and we admire you, and we still accept you, and we think it's great that you came out. We respect your bravery, and doesn't change anything that you're gay. And that was pretty much the most beautiful moment I ever experienced. Just having these just random acquaintances just compliment me and say that I'm brave. And that just meant a lot to me to hear that from my classmates. It meant a lot to me. Now, it's a bit more than a year later. My parents are really accepting. I have no problems at school with friends. Even on my sports teams, I've done wrestling, track, I managed gymnastics. No one's ever been given trouble. People are really nice about it. And there are though the occasional asshole that will say something weird or be like, I can't accept it because of my religion. But either you're going to have to cut that person out of your life, you're going to have to let it roll off your back, or you just need to give them time. Because there have been multiple people in my life that have said things like, I can't accept it because of my religion, but now they're great friends. So just give people time, and make sure to think about who you are. And think about where you are in your life, and if you're in a safe environment. And if you believe you are in a safe environment, then I advise you to please come out. I know I'm lucky that I have friends that accept me and parents that accept me, and I don't take that for granted. Yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. It means a lot to me, Um, and just know, if you're closeted and watching this, just know you're not alone. There's tons of other closeted people around you at your school, your workplace. And good luck. Again, thanks for watching this. Have a good day. Or night. Have a good night.